I honestly didn't expect prototype gear to make ongoing directive feel this strong again. But this setup absolutely melts enemies, keeps non-stop hollow point ammo up, and honestly feels meta again. You see, we covered prototype Heartbreaker in the last video, but in this video I wanted to also cover how ongoing directive feels when it's fully upgraded to the new introduced prototype gear. And I can say that it doesn't disappoint at all, and that's the point of this gameplay that you're seeing right now. You see, if you want to just absolutely melt through your enemies, have 50% amplified damage on your weapon at all times, this is the build for you. You see, I never thought I'd say this, but you can technically just run and gun with an LMG, which is a playstyle that I actually find kind of fun for the open world, retaliations, whatever you want to call it, legendary missions. It's just perfect, and it allows you to have just enough survivability for that passive aggressive gameplay. So if you're excited for this video, guys, like, comment, subscribe. We are almost at 2,000 subscribers, and I appreciate everyone as always for the support. So stick around. Once I reach 2,000 subscribers, I will be giving away something. So thank you guys for supporting, and let's get into the video. The crazy part is, this isn't even some completely new setup either. Ongoing Directive has always been solid, but prototype gear genuinely pushes the damage threshold way higher than I expected. You're constantly getting hollow point ammo back, enemies are getting shredded instantly, and the build just flows really well. It's actually just a really fun way to play overall, something different for those of you who haven't tried it out. I honestly just didn't expect it to be this good, but after playing around with it and seeing I'm able to hit for 1.6 million crits to the head, then I realized, okay, this is actually something. You guys understand that ongoing directive is benefiting you with 50% amplified damage when you have that hollow point ammo going. And this gameplay loop and build allows you to have hollow point ammo infinitely, so you don't have to worry about building no stacks, getting to any sort of thresholds to peak your damage. The goal of this video is to give you the best setup to peak with your damage when using the gear set of Ongoing Directive. The whole build revolves around keeping hollow point ammo active basically all the time, and the easiest way to do that is by using the Banshee Pulse skill. Since Banshee applies a status effect, every enemy hit by it automatically becomes markable through Ongoing Directive. So once you kill one marked enemy, you instantly get hollow point ammo back, which then keeps chaining from enemy to enemy. And that's what makes this build feel so smooth, as you can see. You're basically getting non-stop bonus damage, bleed, and ammo uptime without really having to think about it. And that's why I'm just able to hit for 1.7 million crits comfortably to the head. That is something that you don't have to worry about building no stacks to like other gear sets, and it's just a different way to play without having to worry about much, and providing that support role for you and your team. Because yes, when you get hollow point ammo, your team also gets hollow point ammo as well. So with all that said, let's get into the actual setup, because this is where the build really starts to come together, because I really want to show you guys piece by piece and explain everything, giving you guys the full breakdown. Quickly before we get back into the video, I want to show you guys something that can save you a lot of time in Division 2. This is diving.net. They offer a bunch of Division 2 services like progression help, builds, and different in-game activities. So, for example, you can come here and click on something like Prototype Core Farm, which is in demand right now like crazy, and see all the options that are available depending on what you're looking for. Not to mention, you can also use my promo code for 15% off. One thing I like is that they offer services without account sharing, which is obviously very important. Another thing is they have 24/7 live chat support if you have any questions or you need help at any given time. So thank you diving.net for sponsoring this video. If you're interested, the link will be in the description, and you can use my code PROCLAIM at the checkout. Now, let's get back into the video. So overall, this build is basically centered around the non-stop hollow point uptime while stacking as much weapon damage and crit as possible. The prototype modifiers push the damage even further, and ongoing directive just keeps feeding itself once the loop starts. So this is where augments come into play, because you actually want Trapper on all of your prototype pieces, which I don't currently have, but if I were to have that, then I would have an extra 20% status effect duration as I'm applying the bleed from ongoing directive. itself. Just want to talk about the weapon. I am using the GR9 with the 250 round mag, thanks to Gunner. And this weapon we have rolled with Sadist, and the reason for that is because it amplifies weapon damage by 30% to bleeding enemies after 4 kills, applies bleed to the next enemy you hit. So you're pretty much gonna have bleed active all the time. This is why the Sadist is just amazing, because you're gonna be doing 30% damage no matter what because of ongoing directive applying the bleed. So I always will have an extra 30% weapon damage. And then for my backup weapon, I have the MG5. Don't worry about the rolls. The only thing you want is the talent pressure point, which amplifies weapon damage by 15% to enemies under status effects. And the reason why you want to worry about both of these weapons' talents is because of the Tinker exotic mask. If you guys don't know, this is one of the best masks, best in slot for a build like this, because if your primary and secondary weapons are not exotic or named and of the same type, as you can see both LMGs, then the secondary's weapon talent will also be applied to the primary weapon's talent. So basically I just get an additional 15% to the already 30% that I am hitting with the Sadist talent on my GR9, because this, what it does is just gives you 15% damage to enemies under status effects, and bleed is considered a status effect, so we have an extra 15% for that. If you put all that together, I mean, we're going to talk about how we got to this number, but 120% all weapon damage bonus is essentially achievable, which is absolutely insane. I'm also using a Seska backpack with Wicked because we get that extra crit chance, which is very essential, and you want crit damage and crit chance on all pieces. This, with Wicked, applying a status effect, increases total weapon damage by 18%, gives you an infinite loop of having an additional 20% damage, and that's how we're getting close to that all weapon damage bonus being above 100%, making this absolutely melt. So since enemies are constantly bleeding, Wicked has basically permanent uptime. Then the rest of the setup is just the 4-piece ongoing directive, and the 2-piece bonus is 15% status effects, the 3-piece is 30% reload speed, and the 4-piece is the bread and butter. That's what keeps the hollow point loop going, and honestly what makes the build feel so smooth. For the skills, I'm running Banshee Pulse and the Reviver Hive. Banshee is what starts the entire gameplay loop because it instantly applies a status effect to groups of enemies, and then the Reviver Hive is just that extra safety, allowing you to be passively aggressive, and in case you go down, you know it won't be over because you got a Reviver Hive. I also like to swap the Banshee Pulse for a decoy after I have used it once and I know I have hollow point ammo, because I don't have to worry about using it again. So if you want, you can also swap it to a decoy. For the specialization, I'm using Gunner mainly for the armor on kill and the handling bonuses. Since you're constantly getting kills with this build, the survivability actually ends up feeling really solid because, you know, the faster TTK, the faster you're getting that 10% bonus armor, allowing you to constantly push forward and have that, you know, run and gun type of gameplay. And for the modifiers, this is really where Prototype starts pushing the build over the top. The main modifier setup is basically feeding extra offensive stacks into weapon damage and headshot damage scaling. So even though the setup was already strong before, Prototype gear makes the damage output noticeably higher. So just follow these passive modifier slots and you can get this nice 130% headshot damage pretty much, and an extra 21.5% max armor. So just going over my stats, like I said, the augment you want is trap run all your pieces. This can be 20%, so that's the only thing I'm missing on this build. Or you can also spec into Echo, which will just give you a double damage chance. This can also be increased to, I think, about 10%, if I'm not mistaken, if more. And then we have our actual weapon stats. So I like 60% crit hit chance. That's what Seska helps with on the backpack, but you can also swap that out for a Petrov backpack if you want. But I like to be around 60% crit hit chance and then 130% crit hit damage. And then of course we have that 214% headshot damage. We have that 6% armor damage because I have that rolled on my GR9. And that's pretty much the end of the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Take care and peace.